And we're back. Thanks for staying with us. Yes, it's time for our What's Up and About people. And you know that, we always, anyway, so the conversation basically is bordering on, following up on the Children's Day event, which was yesterday, which was scheduled yesterday to commemorate children all over the world. So happy Children's Day once again, everyone.
Happy Children's Day to me.
Happy Children's Day to Chef Gold, who will be joining us in the conversation.
Happy Children's Day to you.
Why? You just say your own.
Keep
Leave
growing.
My own alone. Leave my own alone.
Keep blossoming.
Keep
Leave
blossoming.
my own alone. Happy Children's Day to my 2 baby mamas, by the way, without babies, of course. But happy Children's Day to both of them. I just had to say that quickly.
You know, with you, there are no surprises.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
2 baby mamas without babies. I mean, please, let's go on.
So over the weekend, right, my kids disobeyed me, right? They did something that they were not supposed to do, and I spanked them. And I spanked them silly because
With what?
I was,
With what?
with Mancariel. I have a small Mancariel.
Do you used to use it, or it's just once in a while?
No, it's just once in a while. Maybe once in a blue moon, like once.
So it's there for,
I don't even
threatening them,
yes,
not
just
for
you know.
usage.
But this time I had to use it.
How many per person?
I gave them about 7 to 8 strokes.
So I'm asking this
The
question.
older one got more strokes.
Okay.
And then I'll do it on their palm.
Okay.
And then the younger one got lesser strokes.
So the police knows exactly what she did and how to handle it.
It's not child labor. And it's
It's
not
not
corporal
child abuse.
punishment. It's discipline.
Of course.
Yes.
Please go
Yeah,
on.
go ahead.
Because they did something they were not meant to do, and I wasn't inflict the point was not to inflict pain on them. It was for them to realize that first, what you did is wrong. You shouldn't have done it. And for every bad decision that you make,
There's a consequence.
there's a consequence to
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
And one of those consequences is one of it, which I have just done.
Yeah.
And after that, I still told them, go and kneel down, raise up your hand and close your eyes.
Wow.
Anyway, the focus basically was on how disappointed I was. I felt this pang of disappointment.
Like you had been let down.
Like I'd been let down, and
Yeah.
it made me question my role as a parent. Was I doing enough? And it sort of also brought to mind, what is your biggest fear as a parent? Because your kids go out to school every day. They meet lots of people, from their teachers to even people that they do not know, to their classmates. You can't restrain them from having conversations with these people, because that's also building their social skills.
Absolutely.
And they would subconsciously, it's not conscious, it's a subconscious state where they would pick up on behaviors
Yes.
Yeah.
that you have tried your best to train them to. Even part of my prayer point sometimes is, dear Lord, please, this associates my children from
Evil people.
from bad communication
Yeah.
and from bad friends, because you have taken your time and invested so much in them, financially, emotionally, intellectually, morally.
Yeah.
And then you see them, picking on, and displaying little traits here and there, and it makes you like, hey, God.
I feel the pain in MM's voice, and I can tell that even as you were flogging them, you felt sad.
I did.
You were hurting with
I
them.
was.
But you were probably even asking yourself, is this flogging even going to help? But let me do it.
Well,
Let me see.
So
The thing is this,
yeah, go
as a
ahead.
parent, you can only try your best.
I know.
I am
Facts.
one of those who always says that, look, if you blame parents for how their children turn out, you're actually making a mistake. Yes, parents have a role to play. Yes, parents influence their children. But what do you say to a pastor that ends up with a child that decides to be an armed robber? And what would you say of a completely clueless parent, absent parents, who ends up with an excellent child?
Yeah, but
There
the
is
thing
no-
with pastors is they could be somewhat at home
and
behind
different,
closed doors
and different in church.
No, some of them
morally-
are actually.
No,
in
I
fact,
said
some of these children
I said some
admit.
pastors.
Yeah.
And so they say, and why must we all be perfect?
Right.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
It starts from that. You want to be the rebellious one because they say there's a black sheep in the mighty name of Jesus. There'll be no black
My
sheep.
children will be black sheep.
None of
All
my
right, so I think
children
for
will
me,
ever
yes,
be.
when I think about the question,
What's your biggest fear
my biggest
of being a
fear
parent?
of being a parent is
Even though you're not a parent yet.
yet, exactly. But this is just something I think about most of the time. I don't want to one day realize that I did not raise my boy to be a manly man and my daughter to be a
Girly girl.
girly girl.
In
my
one
point
word.
is, I don't want to
Let's
actually.
not say the word. Let's
no,
move on.
No, the reason is because, look, this is why I'm saying this. I look at my parents and I'm super proud of how they, raised
Raised you guys.
myself and my siblings. I don't want one day. Sometimes when I'm talking to someone and I do this, I'm like, where did that come from? God, cancel it, immediately, because that's how it starts. That's how it starts. See, the way genetics work, is it just comes from you and it comes from the person as well, your partner as well. Even when I want to have a fight and I just notice that my hands are already doing like this. I'm like, wait, bros, just give me a minute, wait. Well, let me correct this mistake. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't want to wake up and realize that my boy is not a boy.
Man
or
has
my
XY chromosome.
my
Right.
hair.
A girl has XX.
Yes.
So there's still a bit of femininity in every man.
Yes, there is.
The femininity that you talk about is not that you grow up and then decide to like another woman as a lady. No. That's not, see, when you say men should cry, men should show emotions and all that, but I feel like it's part of it. You shouldn't be all uptight, you shouldn't come out strong and all. But for you to now grow up and say, okay, Michael, who do you like? I think I'm in love with Peter.
That's because we're trying to curb on the toxic masculinity. But then again, we'd like to hear on
Exactly.
the
I
chef's
wanted to find out.
Are you
what
parents,
your-
Chef Gold?
Yes, I am.
Oh,
You
what's
are?
your biggest fear?
How many children do you have?
How many children do you have?
One.
One. Okay.
The way you said that one, it's like,
Yeah, please.
just one.
Don't even
No, I don't want more than one, just
No,
one.
he wants more than one, I'm sure. But tell us, what's your
biggest
greatest fear as a parent?
My greatest fear being a parent is, like what you said, I actually do not want to wake up one day and see my child, not being the child
That you've trained.
that I've trained
Genetically.
him to be. Like in all ramifications, be it education, be it masculinity, he has to live up to the standard in which I have given to him.
Yeah.
So if he's not living up to that standard, then I think something is wrong. So that's part of my fear. I don't want to see him growing up to become something else.
Yeah, but would you be solely responsible? Would you feel solely responsible?
No, I don't.
Well, as a parent, you need to take responsibility for
But you
everything.
see, the community that child grows up in is important. The school you take that child to is also important. The kind of friends. I'll give you a good example. Growing up with my parents were never broke, but they were not informed. So I would go to the hostel, my boarding school. During midterm, I would go home and I would say, oh, Mommy, all my friends are talking about PlayStation. I don't have PlayStation. When they're talking about PlayStation, Mom say, what is PlayStation? Now, it's not that they could not afford it. They don't even know
what
it.
it is, right?
I remember it was and I'm saying this here, I remember I was in JS1 when I heard there's anything like DSTV. I go to the boarding house and someone said,
Cable network.
Yeah, cable network. And said, put it on African Magic or put it on one side, put it on Let's Watch Film. And I'm like, you can do that? And I go home and I'm like, Mommy, what is going on? I don't know about these things. And guess what? When I complained at the time, my parents would go out and get them. They were not just informed. So there were lots of things that I learned in life this had nothing to just do with my parents. It just do with the environment that I was in.
So this is my own thoughts. And I might sound
So even wayward children as
But-
well are influenced most times, not even by their parents,
my
but by their
greatest
community and friends.
fear as a parent is to feel like I did not let my child be the person she wants to be or
I
he
beg
wants
you.
to be.
I beg
Hello,
you.
this is my
Oh yeah,
opinion.
share.
If the child decides tomorrow that I want to be this or sexuality or whatever, I know it might sound crazy, but I am that parent that would still try to help you,
Encourage
but would
them.
let you be who you want to be.
Okay.
You see, my personal opinion is there's so much to life. There's so much to life. Life isn't all cut and dried. you could lose that child. You could do make a lot of decisions trying to, you know, enforce certain beliefs you have on that child and end up losing the child.
Right.
I just want my child to be happy. I want my children to have a great life. I want them to live their life to the fullest.
Happiness
as long as they are hurting nobody.
Happiness
Because there's
is
always
relative.
something I've believed. I believe that if you are
Happiness is
hurting people,
relative.
then you are not living your
There
life
is a
right.
difference between being happy and being right.
You want to, you
No,
know,
no,
you know
no,
what
no,
you are
you know-
doing.
you know-
You know what
can
you
I-
are doing with this.
can I
You are
explain?
trying
No.
to be happy
No.
without considering your child's
No.
happiness.
There is a difference between happiness and being right. The fact that the child has said, oh, this is what I want to do, this is what makes me happy, it doesn't mean I will just accept and say, because you want to, this is what you've chosen to be happiness, I should accept that for you.
Now let me
If
tell you why.
If that decision is not right,
Let me tell you something.
it is
I've
my
always,
it is
I've
for
always,
me,
I've
wait,
always
hold on,
said
it is for me
something.
to say, tell that child,
Edgar.
young man, Junior, sit down, Junior, sit down.
Edgar,
That is
Edgar,
not right.
Edgar. I have always said
now,
something.
You know, there is a limit to how much influence you can have on your,
your
child's
child.
life, especially when they get to a certain age.
But I will not influence his bad decisions.
Edgar, let me tell you
Just
something.
because he says he wants to be happy.
See, I've always said something. I know I've mentioned it several times on Wake Up Nigeria. The biggest blessing I ever had was not knowing about transgender as a child. And I'm not kidding.
You'd have been a
I always
transgender.
wanted to be a boy. I'm not kidding. In fact, till date, sometimes I still have that struggle. This is my personal confession. Sometimes I still have that struggle. Like, do I still want to be a man? Why am I a woman? I'm being very honest.
Are you
But
serious?
guess what? It is something that my parents did not encourage. However, if I wanted to do it in my adulthood, if I knew about it in time, I probably would have. And that is one of the reasons I've always said it, that there are certain things children should not be exposed to. Because if I knew about it as a child, I would probably have hounded my parents or even run away to get it done. That was how passionate I was about being a boy. And that is it. So,
How do you think- how
and
do you
that is
think you
why
would
my
react?
thoughts on
How do
all
you
these
think you would-
things,
how do you think you would
sexuality and
feel?
all, I'm indifferent about it,
No,
because
I'm
I
saying-
know quite well that as an individual, people choose to be who they want to be.
Okay, so Mary, quickly, I know we have to run off quick, but I want to ask you a very salient question right before we wrap this up. If your parents, if you knew at that time, and you were at your own free will allowed to express that part of you, and your parents said no, would you have still gone ahead? Would you have disobeyed them?
So the thing is this, and this is me being very honest, I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't know. I feel like I would have listened to my parents. Doesn't mean that
Because I
down the
know how
line
close you are
probably
with your
yes,
parents. You have
that
quite a
doesn't mean that I probably
close
wouldn't have
relationship with them.
later.
Right.
But when they said no, I probably would have, accepted. Do you understand? But then I came to the realization myself and decided myself that I'm going to be okay with being a woman.
This conversation needs to continue
What do you
online,
mean,
guys.
why?
We want to hear your thoughts.
God's
As
not
parents,
choose. We are giving one night. Well, why then change it
is
for
your
you?
biggest fear as a parent? Remember to use the hashtag Wake Up Nigeria on TVC. Want to hear your thoughts. Let's keep this conversation going, people. The show continues shortly.
That's
We'll be right back.
manly.
That's Apostle Manly.
Apostle Manly.
Okay, let me give you
the way you push me
You
was
know
so
me, I'm
manly.
not like